Okay, Massacre Christmas Haunt 2015. What'd you think?
Most important thing, it's Christmas. It's supposed to be a Christmas haunt, so they have a Christmas theme. So when you compare it to Succosis, this is right away. It's a 5-star chainsaw. Like I said, the theme, the characters. I mean, one had like Christmas lights wrapped around his head, which was cool. Let me think. The twitchy nurse is now a twitchy nun, and she's always like the main reason to go to Massacre for one of them. Peto's there wearing his Christmas outfit. You know, we all love Peto. It's what, $17?
Yep.
And it's like, what, almost 20 minutes? 17, yeah. 18 minutes. So, you know, that ratio for value.
Yep.
So it's right up there. And, again, the actors aren't too aggressive at that one, which is I hate. You know, they're all over you. You know, and they were into it. So, 5 chainsaws.
All right.
It's, the word to describe it is festive. I wasn't even in the Christmas spirit yet this year, and it's we're like a week away. And going to this haunt, it was a haunt, but so Christmassy. Everything was decorated. The actors were all fantastic and in character. They were all decorated and dressed in their Christmas stuff. Every single room had some kind of Christmas decoration or Christmas lights, garland, anything. I mean, it was just so enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. Going to this haunt, which is, you know, Halloween theme, even though it's Christmas, put me in the Christmas spirit. Now I'm like all Christmassy. So I loved it. I loved it last year. I love it again this year. 5 chainsaws. I loved it.
Favorite bits?
Oh, favorite bit? Well, of course, Twitchy Nurse. I mean, she's fantastic. We go there. We go to the haunt. Basically, that's one of the main reasons we go to see Twitchy Nurse. But
yeah.
She was a nun.
And you missed her.
I know. I almost missed her. I had to go back. I almost missed her. But I'm glad I didn't. She was great. And then everybody else, of course, Peto. I know Michael mentioned him, and everybody else. All the actors were really into it. They all stayed in character. Everything was very Christmassy, which I loved. And I liked the Christmas music being played backwards. That was really a nice touch. I mean, it's like creepy but cool all at the same time.
Okay.
I just loved it. So, I mean, I can't say exactly, you know, all the rooms are great. They really are. Everything had something. I love the dinosaur, too. I mean, that was great. I know we've seen it before, and then I don't think we saw it a couple times, but the dinosaur was, it was adorable. But everything, the whole haunt, I just really, really enjoyed it. So, like I said, 5 chainsaws.
Okay. So, Jim, second year at the Massacre Christmas Haunt, Christmas Massacre. What'd you think?
Well, I think this definitely lived up to the billing the second year in a row. I think this was a top-notch haunt. I had the experience a year ago, and it was just a very well-done variation on the traditional Halloween theme, and was intrigued to come back a second year. And I think this was, again, superlative from start to finish. You know, again, that sort of wait or the wait experience before getting into the actual haunt sets up the theme well, and you kind of hear a disconcerting soundtrack being played with, you know, very familiar Christmas music being played seemingly in reverse. That is kind of jarring. And then the actors, I always look for that kind of even waiting in line, and they were, you know, keeping you on edge even before entering. And I think each room was just amazingly detailed. I mean, the thought put into each particular, you know, room held a theme as you moved throughout. And I just think, like I say, it was just really an excellent theme that, you know, again, with a Christmas, you're always a little bit leery. Is it going to be derivative? Is it just going to be, you know, just throwing some lights and actors kind of, you know, going through the motions? But I think the actors were all in character, and some appeared throughout, kind of recurring, which was very clever. And you know, some of the standouts for me, I think you know, moving through, there was a kind of a church, you know, area with actors. You knew one was definitely real, sitting in the pew, and you were kind of kept on edge there. That was very well done. The set piece was beautifully done, and kind of a repeat from last year, but again, very solidly set up. Was an old-fashioned movie theater that was just, you know, very evocative of a previous era, you know, say 40-ish, and again, just extremely well done. You know, not one iota, you know, in terms of quality different from a year ago, and I would say definitely it's a 5 chainsaw haunt for me.
All right. Okay, so Massacre Christmas Haunt. we had to go to it because last year's Christmas haunt, it was definitely the top Christmas haunt of 2014. And we had to go in 2015, obviously. And in fact, we went, tonight is December 18th. It is the premiere night for Star Wars The Force Awakens. So we expected about 3 people, that would be us, 3 or 4 people to be at the Massacre.
Only
and everybody
because
else,
we saw it last night.
That's right, we saw it last night. So we expect everybody else to be at The Force Awakens, and yet we get there and there's this huge crowd, which is a testament to how good the Massacre really is. So it was excellent. Bold move being opening weekend for Star Wars, but hey, it worked out. It was great stuff, as always, and this is the way a Christmas haunt should be done, because it basically the layout of the Massacre doesn't change. It's the same as if you went during Halloween. All the rooms are the same, but they're all decorated in one way or another. And it's not just, oh, there's an ornament on the wall or something. There's decoration everywhere around. And what really makes the Massacre Christmassy are the actors. The actors all have some sort of Christmas-themed thing. For some of my favorites this year, aside from our favorite twitchy nurse, okay, she was a twitchy nun, and this is my favorite outfit. I think this is the favorite costume because she had sort of a doll's face with a nun's habit, and yet she still had like a needle in her hand, a syringe in her hand. I mean, she looked really cool and almost unrecognizable. I was like, whoa, wait a minute, that's her. No, it was cool. She was great, but there were other great characters too. There was this sort of, I don't know, animal-headed person in the funeral scene, which is usually like a bishop, a demonic bishop, but in this case it was a guy with an animal head and antlers, and he looked really cool. Then there was this girl who was dressed, she had sort of ram's horns, and she had a pig's head or pig's skull on a spike, and she was moving from room to room following us. She was in one room on top of a refrigerator, and then she showed up in different rooms. She was even around in the weight entertainment area. She was great, unless there were more than one that were dressed the same, and that could have been too, but either way, she or they were great. Another favorite of mine was a girl who was a star. She was hilarious because her face was a tinsel star. Her entire mask was a tinsel star. She was great. She followed us around. And then finally, I have to mention this guy. He was in a shower scene. He just was wearing a suit. He was just an ordinary kind of ghoulish looking guy. He jumped out and said something at me. And he followed us from several different rooms. He kept popping in and out of doors, saying crazy things and then leaving, which is hilarious. Oh, and I have to mention the Lumpy Gumby guy. There was a guy who dressed like Gumby, the character from the 1960s, and he was lumpy, like a chunk was taken out of him, sort of like a very odd-looking Gumby. He was in the vortex tunnel, and he came at me from behind at the vortex tunnel, and he got me. He was really good. Funny. Very funny. Everybody was very festive. It was a laugh. Every room was a laugh and a scare and some creepiness. It was creepy, a little bit unnerving, and amusing at the same time, much like my family Christmases of old. Always a little creepiness there. So I felt right at home at the Massacre. 5 out of 5 again.
Finish what I started.
There, that's better.
No, it's too dark, Laura.
No, it's not. Leave it.
All
turn
right.
around. Turn around.
All right.
Finish what I started.
That's better.
I'm going to lighten it in post-production
Okay.
anyway, as I'm putting it together, so you'll look worse.
No.
Yeah, well, that's your punishment.
No.
Okay. Massacre, Christmas Haunt, take 2. What'd you think? No, I meant version 2 of Massacre.
I said take 2. I did the little clap thing.
That's very good. No, I meant our second visit to the Massacre
Oh, I
Christmas
love
Haunt.
it.